Hello everyone, I am Dr. Hio, a specialist in Feng Shui. Today we have traveled to Urai, a mountain village located about 30 kilometers southeast of Taipei. Urai is widely known for its hot springs and indigenous Atayal culture. In this episode, we will explore Urai Waterfall, Yunxian Paradise, and the village settlement through the perspective of Feng Shui. What looks beautiful at first glance does not always tell the whole story. First, let's look at Urai Waterfall. Standing at 82 meters high, the water falls in 3 distinct stages, and its roar can be heard from far away. Visually, it is impressive. However, in Feng Shui, sound is a critical factor in determining the energy of a site. While Feng Shui values water, not all water is considered favorable. In fact, loud and violent water is something to be avoided. This is because fast-moving water does not allow energy or qi to settle. Instead, the energy rushes away. In Feng Shui, this type of sound is called bai up, meaning the sound of sorrowful crying. The ancient classical text Jin Nang Jing states that when water is used as the red phoenix, violent rushing water must be avoided, as it is a sign of sorrow. Audible water is already considered inauspicious, and a waterfall is an even more extreme condition. It may be pleasant to visit briefly, but it is not suitable for living. Across from the waterfall, there are several villas, but since the sound reaches them directly, they are not ideal locations from a Feng Shui perspective. Now let's move above the waterfall to Yunxian Paradise. Reached by cable car, this site was developed in 1967 as the first theme park in Taiwan. The name Yunxian Paradise suggests a place where immortals live among the clouds. However, the actual land I observed was quite different from its name. It is essentially a deep and narrow valley with a small artificial lake. The water from this valley flows down to become the Urai Waterfall below. To be honest, this was the place I anticipated most during this trip, but it was also the most disappointing. Because it is deep in the mountains, I expected to find at least one auspicious spot where energy gathers. Instead, it is simply a quiet mountain valley, where the terrain allows energy to pass through rather than remain. The name suggests a paradise, but the land itself does not support that title. On one side of Urai village lies a public cemetery. At first glance, it appears to follow a natural Feng Shui form, with a mountain behind and water in front. But upon closer inspection, it sits on the steep side of the mountain, where the flow of energy is unclear. While there is little to analyze from a traditional Feng Shui standpoint, the burial customs here are very notable. All mounds are made of stone, and the surrounding walls resemble residential fences rather than traditional Korean grave walls. Some graves even have roofs supported by pillars looking like small houses. The spacing between graves is extremely narrow, with almost no room to walk, and the maintenance appears poor. Unlike the orderly cemeteries in Japan or Vietnam, these graves seem to be placed wherever there is even a small amount of space, showing a very different funeral culture. Finally, we look at Urai village itself. Originally the home of the Atayal people, it became a major tourist destination after its hot springs were developed. Geographically, the village sits on the left side of the Dragon Vein, while the cemetery occupies the right. Crucially, the village is located exactly where 2 streams merge. Human settlement here rests directly on top of this natural flow. Fast-moving water and narrow valleys always carry 2 sides. They attract visitors with their beauty, but they do not always provide the ideal stability for long-term living. Behind the beautiful scenery of Urai Waterfall and Yunxian Paradise, the land tells a different story. Feng Shui is not about appearances. It is about reading the movement and flow of energy. In the next episode, we will continue our field study and listen to what another landscape has to tell us. Thank you for watching.